we got it.
All right. Hey guys, I'm Ben.
I'm Jake.
And this is Creative Discussions. That's the name of it.
That's right.
And today's big thing we're going to talk about is prep work. So we are both kind of got some projects on the horizon.
That's right.
As we always do. We're always so busy.
That's right.
And,
Never not.
Just rub that in their face.
Busy or die.
So good.
Is what it is.
Yeah, busy or die. Yeah, what was I even saying? Got some, so anyways.
A couple projects?
Yeah, a couple projects here, there. So I thought it would be good to talk about, I think, a tough thing for clients, and I was thinking about this for myself too, is whenever you want to start something like bigger and more important, I feel like you need to learn more of the steps. So like, I feel like sometimes people reach out to us and be like, I have this, business I've been running for 10 years, and it's like, it's super important to them. It's, their livelihood, it's their job. And so everything needs to be explained more. And I think people feel like they know that they want to do it, and they don't exactly know how to start. And I think a lot of the stuff gets lost in the framework, and hopefully like watching something like this, if you are a potential client, maybe you'll know a little bit more of like how we start the operations and things like that, or maybe even what you should be doing. So my prep work was for Unity Fitness. And when they reached out, they've been coming up on this year is their 10-year anniversary. And yeah, I'm getting lost in what I'm saying here.
That's all right. So Unity, so my question immediately with this fitness place, with Unity
fitness place.
With Unity Fitness is when, like, contract is secured, we're going to do this, full commitment. When it comes to like your prep work, what are some, like, what's the immediate thing where you're like, I want to handle this. I want to make sure that this part of it is like good.
Yeah, I think the game plan. There's one thing that I do. It's like creately.com. I show you that where it's like flow charts. So
that's really nice.
I think when you know that you want to do like video and photo and marketing and all these different things, it's like, where do you start? What is the most important? So you kind of go like to the center of like the nucleus, and then you like build out of like what is like, why do you do the things that you do? And I was thinking about this when I was investing with financial stuff. I was like, I want to grow my money. And I think it's also, especially since it's yours, you're like, okay, I don't want to waste this. I don't want to do the wrong thing. And so kind of the question and kind of the way you have to do it is reframe it. If you say like, okay, if I put in this much, if I invest this much, like knowing a guesstimate, because I guess you can't know the exact number of like what you're expected to get in return and why, is kind of how I feel like with these things.
Yeah.
So I used to, especially when I would advertise for myself, it kind of felt like, okay, I'm putting in X amount of dollars, and all of a sudden you're just like, it's gone. And kind of the reframing, which happened for me and which I do with a lot of clients, is finding that answer of like, okay, if I spend X amount, what does that get me? Whether it be, if you want like this many more clients, this much just more like money in general, or time, or whatever you want that to be, and then how do we find it? So I think there's always this like, you look at it and you're like, okay, I think when you are initially excited about it, and you got to do this project, and it's going to help, I feel like there is that like waiting period of time, we were talking about this, where like there's somewhere in between where you kind of overthink it and you're just not sure.
Yeah.
And so you kind of play it safe, which I do understand. I think that was my own business thing as well. Like, it's like, I don't want to mess this up. And so it's much better to like, than being like, oh, I'm a business owner, I'm gambling, the money away. It's like, it's better to play it safe. So I think that's a big thing where the answer, the reframing was, okay, if we can figure out together what you're actually trying to accomplish, and then we can show you a roadmap of the way we can do those things and then how it'll achieve it. Because then it's just like, okay, if I spend this amount, I'll get this back. And I have found that through my own business of, I think when you first start, it's just trying to figure out your business first couple years, figure out who your client is. And I think where we kind of come in is when you get in those next things, if you find those plateaus where you're like, okay, I have this amount of time in the day and I spend it on this, and that gets me this in return. So whether it be spending less of your time and like giving that to others to accomplish tasks, or it be, spending money on certain different things. So I'm getting kind of lost in what I'm saying here, but it's like trying to find that thing together. I think all of a sudden it kind of opens up. It's something we've talked about before, and I've talked about with this a lot of people, is you don't know until you know. And so all of a sudden you get this free time. So we have one of the things with Unity Fitness is they do like all these amazing things. They do, you get custom like videos for every single workout, and like they give them to you. They have their own app. They have like a podcast that they do. They do a bunch of knowledge. Jordan is like super just smart with all those things and tells you why. And so it's kind of the same as that business. It's like once you get someone who tells you why, somebody come through, or maybe it's once you get that person who tells you like why you're doing what you're doing, and you have time to like see the results and feel better, then you understand, okay, well, I'm putting in this amount to get these results.
Yeah. I think a lot of kind of wrapping what you're saying into my own little thing. So the situation that I'm in, the project, is for Symphony up in Eau Claire. And they, to your point earlier, it's like I think the prep work of knowing and being able to figure out and hone in on what do we want to do with this? What do we want the outcome to be? Yeah. I think that's really hard. I feel like even for like just, you want to go ahead?
I interrupted you. No, my phone was ringing.
Oh yeah.
But I stopped it.
Nice. Beautiful. Sorry. The knowing how to, lost it, but I'm gonna bring it back. The prep work to make sure that what we're gonna create is able to like serve the purpose of what they're doing. Yeah. I feel like when you're doing your own business, like you just get drowned. It feels like you can drown in the like day-to-day tasks. You're like, I know I need to do this. Yeah. I just kind of want this to work. And I feel like for video in particular, like this industry, you're in a weird place of like, I want to give a product and I also need it to serve a purpose.
Yeah.
And how do you match that? Because I don't enjoy being like a marketing guy,
Yeah.
But there is an aspect of marketing that you have to really take into consideration, I feel like, in doing this. So like from what you're saying with the Unity, it's like, okay, we like the main focus is just making the footage go as far as possible, or the video as far as possible to meet those goals.
Yeah.
When it comes to like the orchestra and structuring, because a lot of this year for me is very much like I am moving Blue Tap Productions into that realm of things. Mm-hmm. Like very specifically like symphony, videography, that type of stuff. A little more generally creatively. So when it comes to, I think, approaching those type of clients and what their needs are, I know in the music and symphony world, it's a very like, it's kind of a maze of like who do you need to appease and like what their interests are. So like I know with your situation, so you've got the business owner and they have their sets and goals, or their goals in mind.
Ours is to accomplish like a sales goal.
Yeah. And symphony is more like you need butts in seats. Yeah, so like there is like that specific outcome, but there's also like you need sponsorships. You need almost all like orchestras or whatever have like an annual fundraiser or that type of stuff. So there's like
Do they have like a board?
Yeah. So they've got like the executive director who's like running the thing. And they have their own pressures and like daily things. It's like, the captain of the ship. So you're just making sure it's going good.
And then they said they had I forget the name of the guy that I have to film.
The conductor.
Yeah, so big things going on with the conductor.
Totally, yeah.
And then there was different versions of the orchestra, because there's like stuff they do for kids versus the adult show. So it's like doing a lot of different things, appeasing a lot of different people, and like also not making it like just bland. Like you still want to do like a great job, but make everyone happy, which is hard.
Yeah, and I feel like too the mentality of it is just like this is an organization for the arts. So it's like to your point, you don't want it to just be this like very commercialized experience, but it does have to have like a specific outcome. Like they do have to appease certain levels of it. So making sure that it's like the goals and the outcomes at the end of it are that we're getting more people interested and there's more attention coming in, whether it's through sponsorships, donations, or attendance.
Yeah.
But also, it's got to look beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, like it's a beautiful thing. Like I really do. I truly enjoy symphony. I feel like that whole kind of world and universe is such an interesting place to just be around. And it feels kind of like, unless you're in it, to me, until I guess maybe the past couple of years, it really feels like they're in their whole like different world. I don't even know how they make money. you know? So just making sure that like when I'm like talking with them, prepping things, and like getting ready to create this project, it's like we're meeting not just the good quality standards, but it's also are able to make sure that it's going to attract the things that the people and the outcomes that they want.
I think it's a similar box. In many ways are different, but similar of like a lot of times these videos are to show people like how great it is to get them to go there. But like, because once you are there, it's like that's that big step of like getting you from wherever you are at home or whatever to like being there, because being at the live orchestra is so much different than like listening, I was thinking about that when we filmed for a band. It's like in person, you're like, this is so much fun. It's the atmosphere. You're around, you're around people. Like live concert, there's like that energy, and like the orchestra, even when we were just there at the setup, it's so big and the place is tailored for the specific thing. And they're like, so I remember she said like, we're not just like, it's not like, the pro athlete, like you're going to an NFL game, but she's like, these aren't just people just showing up the day of, like this is their, passion and their job, and they put a lot of time into it. And I think it's just like,
there's a level of, I feel like, reverence you have to have.
Yeah.
Because to your point, like this is, like people who are really invested into music, I feel like they have a very like high standard for themselves and for like whoever they're watching, so it's like making sure that whatever you create with them, like it really does look good.
And seeing all the people working together is really cool. Like doing all one big thing, like on the same page, all that practice. It is really like, I don't know, all of a sudden you're like, oh man, and it's hard to remind even myself of that, because it's so easy to just turn on like YouTube and be like, I'm just gonna watch this show. But like there is a thing of like, man, all these people put in this hard work, and like it sounds so good, and they're all in sync, and like they were building like the whole stage out. It's not even just the performers, it's all the stage and the lighting, and I don't know, it's cool. It's hard to, I think that's our job, and it's really hard to like relay all that to people.
100%. And then also have that like, this has to be useful.
Yeah.
You were talking earlier about like investing, like looking at this as an investment. I think that's an awesome analogy. I will probably start telling people that a lot more, just because it's like ideally, I think especially in this should be kind of like an evergreen, like sit on YouTube for years and still look nice, and like people will still watch it, because it's like true, raw, beautiful talent is like just cool to see in general, So
it's interesting when you look at, so I feel like when people say a video, they could say like, okay, you could set up one camera and just film it a wide shot, and like, a very easy version of it is what I'd say.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like they say that, and then when I'm the person like watching, if there's not a lot of effort put into it, you almost like feel that, and you get like bored of it. I don't know. Totally. I feel like the way that we've been talking about how we're going to do it is like there's going to be 4 camera operators. I think you said 5 cameras. Right?
Yeah, 5 cameras. Yeah.
And so it's like getting that intense close up of each, and seeing, each group, if not each individual, and the conductor. And it's like, it's interesting when people talk about it and they're like, it's not that hard to just film. And you're like, in a way it's not. And I totally understand what you're saying. And then in a way it's like that subconscious thing, if you don't even understand like why, like some things just stick with you, and you're like, oh man, I just keep remembering that, and why is that? And really seeing someone like up close, like I'm just picturing like the violinists whenever I see them like really close doing their thing.
Totally, dude.
And like people like working in sync to make something that sounds really cool. I don't know. It's just, I don't even know where I'm going with it. It's just a complex thing.
Yeah, and I think from what you're saying, it's making me think of this, which is when I'm cutting it, I always, because I've been working with, here in La Crosse, the La Crosse Youth Symphony Orchestra, doing their concerts for a few years now. And there's always, every year, and every season to amaze me, they always do one piece that while I'm editing, I'm like excited when I'm cutting.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's the cut, that's the cut.
Yeah.
And it, to me, that makes me feel like that's when the video is like exciting, because now it feels like you're in the journey of that song, like as you're watching, you know, and like that's ideally in any video, you know, it's like you're kind of in for the story or the ride or whatever, you know.
Yeah,
but
it makes you like feel something, and it's hard to relay that to people. Is like you kind of don't know what you're missing out. It's like hard to kind of say that. Like when you're there, you feel that like electricity. It's hard to be like, you know. I feel like when you're the one doing it, you understand it, and that's with like anything. Is you're like, it's so, you know, it's so hard to like explain to people who aren't that, like, you just got to go, and then they're just like, well, I'm not going to go, and you know, it's like that's that big leap for like everything.
Yeah. Okay. So did I talk about it in the last one?
Yeah. Answer to your question.
All right. This is insider baseball for videographers. If you're looking for a cheaper and better alternative for media, and you're recording externally to an SSD through like USB-C cable, I can't recommend enough. Get its SSDs. They're like internal SSDs, NVMe, but they have insane read-write speeds, and you can get a little housing for them. Sabrent was the company that I bought from. And it's basically, you just slide it into there, lock it in, and then it's got a USB-C, I guess, port to plug it into. So then you can plug it into, in my case, the Blackmagic Video Assist to record externally to that. And it didn't work the first time, and I was bummed, and I hated myself, and I thought about just being like, well, everything sucks. But luckily for me, I came across like an old video that I saw or so whatever, and it was just about like cables and like data transfer rates, and I was using the wrong cable. So I ended up getting like a $10 USB-C.
Do you know what the thing is for it, for anyone who would want to know?
It's...
Maybe we can link it.
Yeah. I don't even think you have to do that, because there's like 1,000 different brands. You just need something that is, for a lot of things, 10 gigabits per second transfer rate. So if you just type in SSD 10 gigabits, you'll find something great. But you can get the next step up, which is what I got, and it's a 20 gigabit transfer rate. And that thing, no problems. I was able to record at like quality 0.
Yeah, because you're saying it's just because like the cord is like why it was stopping.
Yeah, it was pretty much, it's like trying to use a garden hose on a fire hydrant and then like send water through that. So it didn't work.
Can't do it.
I just got all wet, and I was sad. But then I found the right hose, and then I wasn't wet, and I wasn't sad. I was dry and happy.
Great.
And that is the story. And that's the story of that. So,
all right,
there you go.
Get you out of here. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Watching.
Hopefully you got something out of this. And if you didn't, hopefully you just enjoy us talking. Bam.